As a follow on from the anxiety tips from yesterday, today I'll explain panic attacks, as it is something that many struggle with when they have to face the world again without a coping mechanism. Panic attacks, the scariest thing imaginable for many anxiety sufferers. That moment of absolute fear when panic takes over, you lose all control, and then manage to make the panic worse by now worrying that you are going to die or at least have a heart attack. But what is really happening when you have this panic attack? You may well struggle to believe it, but like all behaviours, that moment when panic happens is actually well intended. What happens is this: there's a small primitive part of the brain known as the amygdala that has access to our emotional memories and learned responses. It evolved a long time ago to protect us from danger. Its job is to match new circumstances to what is already in memory. That is, it pattern matches, and then alerts us to anything that previously represented a risk and might do so again. So it's constantly on alert, looking out for danger, basically. Back then, in the time of our ancestors, this might have been a movement or flash of colour that could have signalled an approaching predator. The amygdala would then have triggered changes to help the body get ready to either fight or flee the danger. For example, the release of adrenaline and the stress hormone cortisol into the body, resulting in those symptoms that panic you, the pounding heart, the racing pulse, the quick shallow breathing, etc. Now imagine what happens in our modern everyday life. You have a highly stressful day at work. Then on the way home you get stuck in traffic, followed by waiting maybe in a long supermarket queue. At this stage you're worrying that you will now be late to pick up the kids from school. It is simply one stressor too many. The amygdala responds as if you are under threat, and so you start to feel your heart pounding strangely, and your breathing quickens. Then you stress that maybe you are having a heart attack, which in turn makes the symptoms escalate. You end up with sweaty palms, your chest feels as if somebody is standing on it, and you struggle to breathe. At this stage, you probably just run out of the shop. The amygdala, however, records this event, fearful that this could happen again, and files away the relevant details, such as it happened in a busy shop, there were lots of people queuing, etc., when the so-called threat occurred, the perceived threat. Problem is, the next time you are simply queuing in a shop, the amygdala may perceive a risk by pattern matching back, the similarity in the environments, and therefore trigger another panic attack to deal with the new so-called threat. So what to do? Well, despite what we are led to believe about panic attacks and other forms of anxiety, we are not suffering with a disorder. Our amygdala is actually doing what it does with the intent of protecting us. So first up, it is important to realise this and allow ourselves to observe what is happening and realise that we are most likely not at risk. The best way to do this is through regular practice of mindfulness and becoming aware of our feelings and thoughts so that we can calm the mind down as soon as we feel the onset of that attack. The best way to do this is the 7-11 breathing technique, which I explained in yesterday's post, as this will not only calm you down, but also distract you from the perceived threat. Okay, so now you know. It's nothing to be afraid of. If you practice the tips on top of this from yesterday regarding anxiety, along with observing your thoughts and feelings, you will be able to remain calm and see the oncoming panic for what it is. And in doing so, you will be able to look at the situation calmly and objectively so as to decide on an appropriate course of action. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. See you all tomorrow for the next episode in this series on handling your emotions on your journey to recovery. Cheers.